Making $1 million is possible for you as a coach, content creator, personal brand, or anything else online. And I'm going to teach you how to, in this course, this series that I'm creating just for you, to make your first million, baby. So you ready? Let's go. So this first lesson is about how it is actually possible. I'd say this first module is about how it is possible for you to make $1 million as a coach, personal brand, content creator, influencer, okay? It's possible, okay? That's what this first module is about. We're going to break it out into some shorter lessons. So the first lesson is how I made my first $1 million as a coach, content creator, performer, personal brand, all the above. And more importantly, I didn't do this with 1 million followers. I mean, maybe by the time you watch this, I have 1 million followers, but I didn't do it with a ton of followers. I didn't do it with a ton of experience. I'm going to teach you exactly how I made my first $1 million and really break it down to you. And not the how I'm going to go over in all the other videos, the tons I'm going to upload for you here, so you can actually get started on your journey and then maybe, decide to work with me to help you get there faster and easier. So what I want to tell you is that it is possible because I've done it. Now, when I first started this whole journey, I learned about coaches. I got into this whole world because of coaching, because of self-development, because of mindset, the same reasons why you're here. And I wanted to go into this space personally because I wanted to help people. I know I'm going to want to help people my whole fucking life, right? In some way, I'm going to want to teach them something. I'm going to want to coach them on something. I also like entertaining, performing, content creation, showing my sensuality, showing different parts of me, funny side, comedy side, sexual side, all those things, right? So that could be a part of your brand too. I'm going to talk about personal branding throughout this whole course, throughout this series, right? But in general, one part of me that's just always going to be there is the coach in me, is the guy who wants to help other men, and I've helped other women as before too, and I still can, but truly I want to help as many men as possible. That's my current mission. And so for me, when I first kind of delved into the world of self-development, of coaching, of this whole area of life I didn't even know existed, which was about working on the mind to create the results you want. It wasn't just about following a path or just going to school and taking some action to get X degree to make X money, or, marry this person to have a happy life. Like, that's kind of how we think about life. But then when you enter this whole world, your mind is blown. And so my mind was blown in the same way. And one of the things that I was actually dealing with a lot was financial hardship, right? I had literally, I think, manifested myself into this place unknowingly where I was having a lot of financial hardship, right? And so I can go into my whole story in this video, probably will throughout the series, but I want to actually just focus on how it's possible because I made it possible for myself and how I actually made my first $1 million, right? And so when I was kind of going through some financial hardship, I didn't want to, I realized this now, I cared so much about the way I feel. And I was just so stubborn with not wanting to take shit from other people, not wanting to work jobs or have careers where I'm just not going to have the freedom that I have now. I'm not going to have the happiness that I have now. I'm not going to be able to flex the way I can now, And I knew I wanted to create this life for myself, and I knew I wanted to be rich. I knew I wanted to be wealthy, and that has like a different meaning for everyone. But I knew that I wanted to make money on my own terms. I wanted to help people. I wanted to teach people. I wanted to create content like this. And I made that a reality for myself. I also knew I wanted to make a ton of money. And so throughout the videos, I'm going to teach you guys my own realizations about money and wealth and what's really important. And, of course, I still think money is very important. I want to be the richest guy in the world one day. Why not, right? But how you can go about it in steps and how you can prioritize what's most important to you. I think having financial freedom, which for me really means not having to work for someone else, being able to work on your own schedule, being able to have location freedom. I could literally book a ticket and fly anywhere in the world that I want to right now. I don't have to answer to anyone. Also, all my bills are paid. I can travel. I can do whatever I want. I can buy whatever I want. That to me is freedom. Okay? So I'm going to teach you how to attain the same kind of success and happiness throughout these videos. But first, I want to talk about how I did it. Okay? So basically, because like I said, I was in this financial hardship, I was kind of going through these struggles. Even though I'd accomplished quite a bit, I was not happy with how I was going to do it. So I'd rather actually go through a few years of difficulty, some financial hardship to figure out what I want to do, rather than just go on a path that would be very hard for me to get out of, okay? I'll talk about my personal story a bit more, my whole journey with money, mindset, my family, the ups and downs that we've had, like seeing a lot of money, then also struggling and all that, and how it kind of played into my own life. But I think the main thing I want to emphasize here is that I first found out that Tony Robbins, if you've heard of that mofo, right? We love him. And he's just a beast. He's been doing what he does forever. And he was kind of my first introduction. Before him was actually Lewis Howes, if you guys know who that is. And I saw an interview of theirs, and my mind was blown when I found out Tony Robbins actually made $1 million in 1 year as a coach. Now, of course, he had been doing this for years. He had been reading books since he was a teenager, going to Jim Rohn events, all that stuff. So it didn't happen overnight. But he made his first $1 million. Then I was introduced to Brooke Castillo, who had also then just made her first $1 million as a life coach, right? Now, obviously, there's business involved. There's marketing and sales involved. You don't just call yourself a life coach and become a millionaire. Although you can, because you can manifest anything. But that's not really what it was. But it was good that I was naive back then about it, because what it showed me more than anything else is that it's fucking possible. These people talking about the amount of money that they made as a coach, as someone who can help people, heal people, help them transform, inspire them, make them come alive, make them feel better, have a better life, was just so mind-boggling to me, right? Because I didn't know that this could be a career. And so for me, knowing that it was possible for them made me realize that it's possible for me. Knowing it was possible for them made me realize it was possible for me. Do you know how crazy that is? That's why I commend people, especially Brooke Castillo, because she goes on and on about this, how she'll never stop talking about money, because the more she talks about it, she gives people an opportunity to believe that they too can have the same thing that she's created. And the reason why I'm talking about it openly, even though it's scary and we come from these cultural and religious backgrounds and all that, all the bullshit stuff that's taught, some of it's great, some of it's just, excuse my language, but some of it's just, you guys know, right? It's just so a lot of it's like, don't talk about how much money you make. You're going to come off arrogant, pompous. I don't give a fuck if I come off arrogant or pompous. I want to help you. I don't care what other people think. I may have relatives watch this, family or friends watch this. I don't care. Be willing to be misunderstood. Be willing to be misjudged. It's not easy, but I promise you, it'll get better and better and easier for you, which is one of the journeys of actually putting yourself out there if you want to be a coach or a personal brand in any way. But I talk about how much money I make. I talk about making my first $1 million just to fucking help you, just to help you realize that it's possible for you, man. It's possible. If I could do it with zero experience, I never thought in a million years I would be an entrepreneur. I never thought in a million years I'd be a businessman. I never thought in a million years I'd be the money guy who teaches other people how to make money. I just decided one day that's who I'm going to be, and I kept redeciding through all the ups and downs and all the doubts and fears that you have, and I kept redeciding until I fucking became him. I became this motherfucker who created $1 million as a fucking online coach. And if I can do it, you can too. And I did it literally working a few hours a week, which I think I'm the most prideful and boastful about, because I think that's a skill worth celebrating. That's a result, that's a manifestation worth celebrating, okay? And so I just think being able to have full, freedom, time freedom, not having to work 40 hours a week, forget 80 hours a week, but a full-time schedule, literally feeling like I'm living my dream life, retired, and making all that money, So I was able to retire my parents. I was able to buy my dream house. I was able to buy my dream car. I was able to do so many things, help so many people financially. And honestly, I feel like I can do anything I want, and I'm just getting started. It's just the beginning. So I personally did it by selling online coaching, okay? And I mixed it in with my personality and who I was, and I was showing up with my best energy, and that's really how I made my first $1 million. So the first year, I made about... My first year of going all in, I made $160,000. Second year was about like $250-ish. Third year was about $370-ish. And then fourth year was like around $200-ish, whatever. So I made my first $1 million between that fourth and fifth year, okay? And so I'll break down more throughout these lessons exactly how I got to those numbers, why I got to those numbers, when I was ramping up, when I was kind of taking a break. But I hope that shows you that it's super simple for you to make $1 million. I know those numbers may sound mind-boggling. They did to me at once too, but I just told you that I made $1 million to show you that it's possible for you too. If you want coaching with me, go ahead and see the show notes below or somewhere here. Click the link that you see there. If you want to work with me, make your first $1 million, and on the journey to making your first $1 million as a coach, personal brand, content creator, or influencer. And I'll see you on the other side. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment, and share. I'll see you in the next video.